All right, good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining our webinar today on our new personal lines rating engine, Express RATER. First off, thank you for your interest in the online comparative rating tool. We're really excited to finally be able to launch a platform like this to our agents. I know you guys have been asking for it for quite some time. We're really happy to be able to provide it now, finally. So yeah, the ultimate goal of this is speed, the Express RATER. That's why we named it as such, be able to put the power in the agent's hand, to be able to provide as close to a firm quote as possible, as soon as possible for your customers, because the buying cycle in the insurance industry is getting shorter and shorter every day. So the agenda today, I'm going to keep it pretty loose and lax. We're going to go through a couple quotes here. I'm going to go through both an auto and a home quote. I'm going to go through how to submit the quote over to Abram Interstate, because it's really just an indication. It's not even a true firm quote. The reason being is we have not run the necessary reports to confirm rating. So we have not run MVR and CLUE for an auto risk, and we have not run CLUE for a home risk and run mapping as well. Now for Safeco and Travelers, the mapping actually runs in the system, so as long as the address is correct, they tell us that it should qualify for their programs. If it doesn't, and it goes into one of our higher risk programs, then we have to map it internally here. We have a live mapping going into this system. We'll get into those details a little more a little later when we get into the home quote. So, and then we're going to go through how to search the system, how to adjust and modify quotes, and then we'll have a question and answer session at the end of the call. So I'm going to start on an auto quote today. Oh, and before I begin, we're going to, obviously I just said we're going to have a question and answer at the end. There are chat and question and answer buttons. I'm going to stop periodically through the calls. I'm going through these quotes to check and see if anybody has any quotes that they might have. Having technical difficulties, bear with us a moment. Okay, so she heard that. Sounds good. Lena, is that Charles is having some problems getting in? We're good. Okay, good. Perfect. Let me open up the question and answer box here. Down. This over here. Okay. All right. So this is the home screen after you log in to Express RATER. You're going to see that you can, I'm going to start obviously here with a new auto quote, but you can start with a new home quote right here. You can find a client, and then there are the menu bars up top here. And there's quote, and there's new other items that you can do up here. There's quote templates that you can create. We're not going to go over those today. In subsequent calls, we'll go over quote templates. That will be in a more intermediate type training, as well as some of the replacement valuation tools that we have available. We'll go over those in another day. So right here, this is the home screen. You can, before we even begin that, actually, we'll go one more thing. You can adjust the display. So if you want slim, it just puts more data and more fields in it. So you can adjust them. Spacious just makes the boxes much bigger, and so it's more of just a preference thing, individual preference. Individual users can adjust that how they see fit. All right, so we're going to go get into a quote today. So you obviously start with the information first of the insured. By just entering a zip in, it will bring in a lot of information. It'll bring in the county, it'll bring in the city that it believes that you're trying to locate with the zip. You can obviously adjust these if there's multiple counties, there's multiple cities available, you can adjust them. The time at residence, this is a required question for auto risks. If it is a short time frame, so they just moved there, they've only been there for 6 months, you can enter in prior address information here. Most of the carriers want a phone number, especially travelers. Travelers will not rate without a phone number, so please either enter a phone number or enter in a dummy phone number. The quotes want an email as well, so okay, so general information and coverages, your effective date you can adjust here. So let's say that they want to be effective July 1. If you want to be a non-owner policy, you can do that. We really don't write very many of those. We only write them with one carrier. Policy term and payment options, leave those stagnant. I'll show you how to change those at a later time. Here's your liability limit, so you can adjust your liability limits here. Let's do 50, 150, 2,000 med, and do 50, 100 on the UIM. So your deductible waiver right here, your MPD collision deductible waiver, you can select that there. Accidental death, you can select that coverage here. About 95% of risks we see don't select those. Quote details, this is for your agency about your customer, where you got the lead, where they came from, the quote description, are they renewal, are they a rewrite, are they new business, what's their native language, that way you can set that about your customer. Additional details are not in there. Okay, driver information. This is where you can select the number of drivers. So you can select up to 6 here, and it'll scroll across. I'll show all the drivers that you can then input the information on. We're going to be brief today. We're just going to do 2 drivers. And rate that. So we're going to say that we're rating Brad Pitt today. And we're going to pretend that him and Angelina are still together. I'm guessing our rate is. I don't really know how old they are. Okay. Enter in your driver's license number. Okay, so on the driver information, this is where you can add violations. Say you know that this driver has violations, you hit that View Edit Violations, and you click here to add a violation. And you can select the violation. So most of these are going to be accidents, either not at fault with an injury, or not or no injury, or they're going to be most likely a speeding ticket. Be your most common. So if you just type in this bar too, it'll start bringing up all of the types of violations that are in the drop-down. So speeding over 65 is very common. Time since the incident, let's say it was 2 years ago, this will automatically update the violation date. So say it was two years, 2 months ago, then you see the date, the violation date update automatically. The conviction date, however, you have to then manually adjust. So let's just say it was 15, they got hit. It's about right, a month or 2 later. You can actually put in the miles per hour that he was clocked at. So say it was 77, and then we can hit OK. And then there you go. Now you have your violation associated with your driver. But for today's purposes, we're going to take it off so they have clean driving records. In addition to violations, you can have suspensions and expirations that you can add into this loading. So you're going to see this menu bar pop up. You want to click here to add the DMV action. So let's say they got their license suspended. Let's say it was time since the action date. Say it was a year ago. Again, you'll see this date bar automatically update. So we'll match that, and then we'll hit OK. But we're going to take that off because we don't want them to have one. and you can delete it over here on the right. Okay. All right, perfect. So let's see here. Get into the driver attributes, prior insurance, click yes or no. Time of prior insurance, say they've been there for 5 years. Prior X date, let's call it right on July 1st. Let's say we're taking them away from Allied. Allied's had some rate increases and is not liking personal lines as much recently, so see some business from them right now. Okay, and this is where you can select the driver's occupation. These guys are actors. Put it in as such. Say that they have a bachelor's degree, own a home. That they have that. Okay. For these guys, for Angelina, do the same thing. Actor. Let's say she has a high school diploma. And let's say they still live together. Pretend as such. Lena, yes, the system, good question. Lena just asked, does the system pull an MVR? Right now it does not, and we'll get into that later. So you have to submit over to Abram Interstate, and we run MVR and Clue on our end. We are working, however, on integration with an MVR ability for you guys, so that way you can run MVR on the front end without having to come to us to run the MVR. I don't have any time frame or ideas when or if that's actually going to happen. We are investigating it. Miles to work is where you can put that information. Companion home. Okay, this is an important question for, especially with our carrier Safeco. Safeco, as you get into, if you want to do a multi-policy package discount, they do not have a company question, and we'll get into what a company question is a little bit later, for a package or a companion auto or home policy. So you want to select yes here to make sure you get the multi-policy discount for Safeco in particular. Okay. Let's see here. Oh, part X is right. Why is that? Okay, so VIN, so number of cars, so cars, vehicle information. Now you can select the number of cars, so you can have 6 cars. But for today's purpose, we're just going to say they have 2. I'm going to enter the VINs. So this system has a VIN lookup. So based upon the VIN information, it will automatically pull in all of the vehicle detail. So this should really help you guys in rating, just making sure that you get the VIN detail from your insured. You can then select model detail based upon that. This is a 4-wheel drive, so that was the difference between these 2 models. So we'll select OK. All right, and then license plate information. I'm just going to dummy it right now, but in real risk, please enter in the actual license plate number. There you go, you see it pulling all the vehicle information. And then further down, you can adjust. You'll see all the additional attributes. It talks about all of the details of the vehicle. So you can adjust as needed. For example, this one didn't pull in a sunroof. This vehicle actually does have a sunroof. You can select yes on it. Okay, so annual miles driven, I'm going to say 1,000. Can we still get a quote if they don't have the license plate yet? Oh, so for a new purchase, yes, absolutely. Okay. Okay, now we're going to go to the company questions. I said earlier we're going to talk about company questions. So obviously every single carrier has differing underwriting questions, and so we've actually brought most of the specific underwriting questions that might differ from the different carriers, or they're not already asked in the data entry portion, and brought them in here. Go through them. Every carrier has different underwriting questions. So like MAPFRE, we talked about the multi-policy question already. They want it here. They don't really want it back on that companion home question. They want it answered here. So if you know you're going to want MAPFRE or be a potential player with MAPFRE and you have both lines of business, make sure you select it here. Let's see here. There's some buybacks and some of the particular product highlights or product differences that the carriers have will be answered here. For example, Safeco OEM parts coverage. Travelers is going to ask about the certified mileage program, so they're going to say yes here. Do you have a boat? Do you have another line? Do you have a condo? Do you have a renter's or a landlord policy already with Travelers, which will give you multi-line discounts? Do you want premium roadside assistance coverage? If you do, then you select yes. Okay, those are the company questions. Make sure to go through those in detail. The most important ones from a rating factor are going to be obviously the multi-line discounts. So make sure you're answering those. Get the best rate for your customers. As long as you have a supporting line of business, of course. Okay, so we're going to get to the rating and scoring options. So there's the company selection. You can see that it's, don't know what these are. I got this, sorry. Okay. Companies, Kemper Specialty, MAPFRE Preferred, MAPFRE Protection Specialty, MetLife, Safeco, Travelers. So MAPFRE, for those who don't know, MAPFRE has two products. They have a preferred product as well as a standard and non-standard product. So the protection specialty is going to be lower limits, people with points, bad driving records, no license, you know, things like that. Not no license, but maybe foreign license. MAPFRE prefers obviously higher limits, clean driving record, you know, nice vehicles, and all the rest. Okay, if you know you don't want to rate certain carriers like Kemper Specialty, for example, or maybe Protection Specialty, we know the underwriting information about these insureds that we entered is very preferred, and they look very clean. So say we just want MetLife, Safeco, Travelers, and MAPFRE Preferred, we can hit rate quote, or we can rate all of them. It's totally up to you. Today we'll just rate all of them for demonstration. You can see up here it brings in the liability limits and the coverages. That way you can start adjusting and then hit re-rating right on this screen. What did rate? What did they rate? Insured's address. Thought I did that. Okay, if they don't rate, it shows you right here why they wouldn't rate on all the messages missing the insured's address. Okay, I must not have done that. Easy. So we can go back to single screen. No address right there. Got ahead of myself. So you can also select these tabs up here to scroll through, or down here, either way. It's the same place. All right. So you're going to see the companies that rated. You'll see that it's loaded by premium amount. So MAPFRE Protection Specialty came up at the cheapest on this. One thing to note, though, is MAPFRE Protection Specialty doesn't write an annual term. So if you hit select, a message will come up, invalid term entered semi-annual rate shown. So it's a 6-month policy. So it's actually not the cheapest compared to an annual policy. Total premium may include fees. It shows you that it adjusted the liability limits down because for some reason in the risk detail they only want to offer $25.50. They are a non-standard company. Non-standard companies often do that. There you go. So you can click cancel. Since I saw that notice, I don't really want that product. I actually want the Travelers product. You'll see that Travelers then adjusted the uninsured PD limit down to 3,500. I think we had selected $5,000. Days driven per week is assumed to be 5. Total premium paid full. Yeah, percentage of use is assumed. Verify when bridging to Travelers. So they talked about the verified mileage program. So you're going to want something to justify the mileage that you entered. And we'll show you how to submit documentation to us for those types of risks. Okay, once you selected that company that you want to choose, they're going to give you the different payment breakdown options. So you can select the different payment breakdown options right here. Well, let's say that you know that this is a multi-policy discount and you want to now add a line. You want to add a home to this. So you're going to select that green add button plus, just like this auto stayed here. So some of the risk detail is going to transfer over. So the insured name, the address transfers over automatically. So as we start to scroll down, it doesn't pull over absolutely everything. We are working on making sure it flows everything over that you've already entered. For example, some of the gender and married, and especially the occupation information has already been entered. But unfortunately, there's just a few places we're going to have to re-enter that information. Okay, this is really cool. It does bring in PC class for most risks. Some risks it does not bring in PC class. It's just if it can't determine it or it doesn't have enough data, we are using a third-party data provider for PC class. So if it's way out in the boonies, typically your 7, 8s, 9s, and 10s, it's not going to pull in PC classes, what I found. But I really haven't found a hard and fast rule either. So if it brings it in, awesome, and it's very accurate at that point. If not, then there are other ways. ISO or other people can provide PC rating. You can enter in co-applicant information here if needed. Here's your general information, so your effective date, we'll set that. So first again. Again, this is more information for you where the lead source came from, the code description, and then language just as it was on the auto. Okay, location information, miles in your fire station. Hydrant right in front on this one. The inside or outside city limits. Is there a brush hazard? And whenever you select this, it scrolls you back up for some reason. Not sure why. We're working on fixing that too. Usage type, this is a primary home. Everything in California pretty much is frame. Let's call it 2007. Story home. You'll see the roof composition here, and you have the whole drop-down long list of roof types. This is a concrete tile roof. Okay, none. Roofing shape, most are gable or hip. If you don't know what those are, you can Google it. They're pretty interesting education on roof shapes. This house is a gable. Primary heating, central gas. Okay, this is a newer home, so nothing has been updated or needs to be updated. Foundation is slab. Okay, number of baths, 3. Swimming pool, spa, trampoline, all that information. Animals, now you can enter in. You'll see here all your vicious breed mix of dogs, pit bulls, Gias, all the rest. Livestock on the property. You can enter that in as well. This house does not have a dog. There is an other breed for your small house dogs that don't really make a difference. No The policy's canceled. Okay. Replacement valuation. So I talked about that there is a replacement valuation tool embedded in the system. So if you click on that button right there, it's going to bring up a whole new system. It's called Multico. Should come up. Bear with me. So the thing about this system is it does not transfer data back and forth right now. So you can use this tool to get your replacement cost calculation, and you actually can then print the report. You can save it as a PDF. You can do all of those items. But it is not going to, you're going to have to re-enter the data that you enter here back into the Express RATER system to be able to get a rate. There is no flow back and forth right now. We're working on fixing that. If you do not have a way to do replacement costs, and this is free to you and you can use it, there's other free courses that we know of as well that you can use for replacement cost calculations. Okay, you can add loss information here, just as you could on an auto policy. Oh, it's not like it. That's the reason. Here's the loss. So here's the drop down. You can select the peril of the loss, dog bite, smoke, vandalism, wind, etc. The occurrence date and the loss amount. And you can click if it was a scheduled personal property loss or not. I'm going to say there's no losses on this home. Financial interest is where you can enter in all the mortgagee information. You can enter up to 2 on the system. If there is a third, typically most standard carriers don't want it, but we can write it. You can enter the third mortgagee information to the email that you send us on the quote. So they have prior insurance. So they've had it for a while. Expiration date. It's prior in agency. That's for you as well. So you can track if it's a new lead or you're just moving internally. Take them from Allied again. Okay, this is where you can enter in the protective devices. They have deadbolts, they have burglar alarms, fire extinguishers, detectors, all the rest. This is crediting information, especially if it's central. So if your insured does have central station, fire and burglar alarms, they will get credits for that. But make sure you're asking those questions. Okay. We can now hit next. Okay, this is where we can select the form. You can do HO2, special, or HO5. Most of the products that we have available through our standard lines carriers are HO3s, so I wouldn't bother with messing with the form. The dwelling information, this one I know is 610, placement costs. So it's going to auto-populate A, B, C, D coverages, or B, C, D based upon your A. So you can adjust them though. So you can select the calculator on the right-hand side. This is auto set to 10%. You can change it to 25, or you can make up something in between. You want to do 15%. And then apply it. We're going to leave it at 10% for today. Personal property, it defaults it to 60%, which is kind of an odd percentage. Most carriers, their default product is either at 50 or 70%. And you can also then do a custom for contents. So we're going to do 70% on the contents. Personal liability, again, most are going to be 100, 300, 500. The drop downs are because in California, they're mostly 100, 300, 500. In other states, they have different limits available. So for today, we're going to do 300. That is the most common by far. Do $1,000 medical payments. and we'll do 125% extended replacement cost. And over on the right here, you're going to see your deductibles. So your all perils is going to be your standard deductible. So we'll do it at 1,000. Your wind hail, we'll do it at 1,000 as well, just make them matching. Okay, over here, the California state endorsements. So these are endorsements that we know is available in California for a homeowner's products. Things like watercraft, earthquake, coverage C, special limits. One thing to be aware is that there are also carrier-specific endorsements available over on the right. So if they're available from the carrier specifically, I would do that one. For example, this one for Safeco has water backup. You can select yes. I do 25,000 and whatever you want for deductible instead of doing the water backup over here. Reason being, these are real-time rates, so it's taking this information and going into Safeco's system specifically, and these questions were designed around the certain carrier system, so they're the most accurate. An enhanced home package for travelers, that brings in the water backup limit. Water backup is a big topic right now. If it doesn't have a sump pump. If it's green, select yes. Earthquake coverage, you can select yes. And the different carriers will have different questions about the earthquake coverage. Workers' comp for occasional employees, you can select that here for Safeco. Okay. For TOPA, if you want theft buyback, their product does not automatically theft. You have to buy it back. You can say yes. Computers, same thing. So then you can then add whatever kind of limit you want. All right. We'll hit next, and then we'll be able to select the carriers like we did on the auto product, auto rating. Oh, there's actually first a couple company questions. The Safeco ones, you know, this is the construction style. It's typically going to be a contemporary, a Rambler, or a Colonial. You can get into this more detailed if you want, but we'll just say it's a Rambler. Travelers, the coverage package. So this is different coverages that packages that Travelers has available. Gold, Platinum, Platinum Plus. Actually, you know, Platinum Plus obviously being the most enhanced coverage. Really, it's an HO3 base, but all the added coverages make it almost to an HO5 type of policy. So that's just the difference. If you have questions about their different packages, reach out to me and I can send you a lot of information on their different homeowners packages. Was property purchased as a foreclosure? So some more underwriting questions here. We're going to leave those all no or zero for today. Just confirming that they're an actual HO3 product. Okay, again, just like the last one, you can the auto quote, you can say don't rate for certain carriers. Don't worry about the assumed rate. That's not something we really need to worry about with our carriers because the carriers we utilize are actually on real-time rates, so we don't need to worry about that. Every quote. You'll see it's actually pinging their system and bringing the rates back in. So Safeco is the least expensive in terms of premium, and you can scroll over the exclamation point, and it'll show you that $25,000 water backup rated quote was placed with General Insurance Company of America. Any kind of small notices, you just hover over this exclamation point. For Travelers, $183,000 in loss of use limit was rated, which is much higher than what we had. I think we had a 10%. Enhanced home package coverage not rated. Please advise your customer that an exterior inspection has been ordered for their home. Okay. So there you go. So once you know the carrier you want, you're going to hit this select next to the carrier again, and it's going to provide the same notices that I just scrolled over. Okay, so let's select Travelers. Click OK. All right, So this is going to, again, pull into the billing information. So it's pulling all the information that we just entered into a single screen here. And we can just select pay in monthly EFT or monthly option. You see the service fees associated with the different options that you select. So let's say that we select the pay in full. Or actually, let's say we want to adjust it to the monthly EFT. You have to hit that select button, and you'll see the yellow line move up, and that means that you've selected the right monthly payment option. Let's go back to pay in full down below. Okay, you know you want this one. We're going to go up to forms here at the very top of the screen, and we're going to select company application. Yeah, this pulls it into an application. You'll see that information. You can scroll down and review all the information, adjust anything that you think needs adjusting. Because we really can't edit after we hit this next button, we're going to go to Print Preview Application. And that's pulling it into Accord here. So you see it pulls it into Accord Homeowners Application Accord 80. All right. Now, for us to confirm the rate, you're going to want to hit Submit a Bind Request right here, okay? And this is going to auto-populate who it's going to. So it's going to go to abraminterstate.com. The subject here is going to be test location. So this will bring in your agency location information. You can wipe that out and say, you know, please quote travelers. Okay, and in the body you can say companion auto quote to follow. All right. And we talked about earlier, say that you have some information or some files that you want to send along with the risk. You can click here to attach them. You can choose your file. Say you have some pictures of the house, or say that you have some oil change receipts for verified mileage. You have 2 or 3 oil change receipts that you want to accompany with the auto risk, so we can validate mileage. Go ahead and throw that in here. Okay. And then you're going to hit the send button. Okay. That risk has been sent to us. We're going to receive it here. We're going to load it into the system here. We're going to bridge it over to Travelers or Safeco. We're going to run MVR and CLUE or their appropriate reports for the risk and return the rate back to you. The rate, the proposal that we return back to you will be come back to you via email. It will not come back to you automatically through the system. Another thing to note is that, as I stated earlier, that these are real-time rates. So after you send us the risk, please don't go back into the system, pull up that client, and adjust the quote at all. When you send it to us, please have it be as final as possible. If you need adjustments to coverages, to replacement costs, to insured information, to mortgagee information, please just email us at apps@abraminterstate.com along with the name of the insured. Because when you start going into the system and adjusting it, we have to start over a whole new quote because it wipes everything out within the carrier systems because it's real time. All right, so let's say that we want to find a quote. Working on one. Did a new auto quote. Logged back into the system. We can hit Find a Client. And we can search by all different kinds of criteria, the insured's last name, the insured's first name, the phone number, or you can just hit the Search Now button and it will bring everything that you've been working on. You can also hit this plus button over here that says Advanced Search Criteria, and you can search by insurance email, the office location, let's see here, quote number, the date originally quoted. So we can just narrow it down to today. Hit search now. Yvonne, that's a good question. Let me get back to you. I'm not sure. A long time as far as I know. And so then you can pull up your quote here. You hit select, and you can select the line of business that you want to open. So we want to look back at the auto, and we're back in the auto here, and we can adjust as needed. So let's go over adjusting the quotes. Let's say we get to the comparison screen again. So a lot of our time here, which is fine, and we like doing it, is spent requoting. So we would prefer, it would, like I said earlier, it would be the easiest if you make sure you played around with the liability limits to be able to get to the premium that you want on the front end before sending it over to us and then requesting you change the limits around. So you can change the limits around here. Let's say we go down to 2550. You can click re-rate right there, and it automatically re-rates the risk. So if you're trying to get to a certain number, or you're trying to get somewhere, or just want to adjust with different coverages, this is a great place to do it. You want to decrease deductibles, you want to decrease coverages, you can do that all right here. Re-rate. As you'll notice, it typically doesn't adjust the premium very drastically, but sometimes it can. Thank you guys, everyone, for joining. We will have more of these, and we'll get more in depth and more advanced on the trainings as well.